Welcome back to the Right Take Report. Today, we're breaking down the top 5 wildest man-on-the-street moments of 2023, where people unknowingly agree with conservative values, expose their own hypocrisy, and demonstrate just how surface-level their arguments really are. From immigration double standards to the insanity of minors getting life-altering surgeries, these interviews reveal a lot that I'm not happy to see with our society. But that's all I gotta say. Let's get right into it.
What do you think of, if the government wants to put this in your food, what do we think? Would you be willing to try it? Was there any crunch in there?
Mm-hmm.
That was the crickets. We're getting people to sponsor migrants and to invite them into their own homes. If you sign this, we can get a migrant into your home and as early as next week.
Not right now, not at this point.
I can't do that. As long as it's not my home, I'm for it.
How would you feel if you knew that your kid's library had these books available?
What the
In 2023, I traveled around and talked with a lot of people about a lot of hot button issues. Do women need men?
No.
What? Now, we're counting down the top 5 man on the street videos of 2023. Let's do it. Would you be willing to eat bugs if our government told you that it would help the environment?
No.
Fresh crickets this morning. What do we think?
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I don't know if this is for me, personally. Maybe for some people, not for me.
If you want to make that choice, like we just made, to eat crickets, more power to you. But if you don't, I'm not going to force that on you.
Do you think forcing it and not labeling it is going too far?
Well, yeah. I think it's all about personal opinion, what you want to do, what you want to eat with your body, and what you want to put into it.
And what you think is good for you.
Yeah.
Just
So
like
maybe
your-
keep the government out of it.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Should minors?
Before we get into this next clip, just want to make a couple of quick comments. When it comes to immigration, which is referenced in the beginning of the video, plenty of people on the left are willing to support more people coming into the country. And on the surface, that's not a bad thing at all. But thousands of people legally immigrate to the United States every day. This is why we're trying to stop people who are doing it illegally. It becomes very dangerous and unfair to the people who have spent years fighting, waiting, and following the rules to enter the country the right way when you can just walk right in. It's a slap in their face, really. What's even more revealing, though, is the hypocrisy. So many people who virtue signal about supporting mass immigration are suddenly quiet when asked if they'd house illegal immigrants in their own neighborhood. It's a classic not in my backyard mentality. They'll push for policies that affect working-class communities, but will not accept the consequences in their own privileged spaces, or should I say, safe spaces. But what this clip really highlights is something even deeper. How most people, left or right, actually agree on the idea of limiting government involvement in reference to eating bugs or regulation or changing certain amendments and the Bill of Rights. The man in the video says he doesn't want the government involved in everything, and that's the main point I think he's trying to make. He's just doing it in terms of bugs being in our food, which is easier to see relative to other issues. But it's funny how even people who vote for bigger government policy instinctively agree with the principles of this guy in terms of small government when they actually realize it. It's cool to see. Let's get into the next clip.
Minors be allowed to undergo sex change operations?
They should if that's something that they want to do, you know? I think it's important.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we should.
Should we be allowing sex change operations for children?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. Oh, excuse me. Heck no.
You know.
That's a little crazy. Giving gender correction surgery to a child. What if the child grows up and he's like, hey, I'm not a woman, I'm a dude. What the? Now I've lost everything.
You think that's child abuse?
Jail, child abuse, CPS, call them all.
What should the minimum wage be?
Man, I'm gonna say at least 16, 17. 15 ain't gonna cut it. 18.
For a fast food worker, 20 an hour is fine.
Would you be in favor of $30 an hour?
I think you're reaching now.
What about $40 an hour?
That'd be even better.
How about $100 an hour?
Sign me the up.
Get 100 too. Yeah, I see you keep going up. I'm agree every time.
When you have a minimum wage, you're giving $20 an hour to people that might not deserve it, and the same amount to the people that do deserve it.
That's 100% true.
Do you think raising the minimum wage too high would incentivize employers to automate or to cut employees or to cut down on hours?
They can, yeah.
Oh yeah, I can see that happening. That's happened to me before.
This is it. The result of raising the minimum wage. How much do you make an hour? Who has more risk in the business, the employee or the business owner?
The business owner.
So why should the government be telling the business owner how much they should pay their employees?
He shouldn't.
So do you see the problem now with raising the minimum wage?
Yeah, I see it now. I see what you're saying. I had to think about it in my own perspective as if I had a business or not.
So the question is...
See, the last guy had it right. You have to think of it more than the surface level and actually say, look, do I have a business? Is the government going to force me to pay people a certain amount when they probably don't care that much about the job? This is honestly common sense. But let's go back to the point about minors having transgender surgeries. They should not be allowed to undergo any type of surgery that is going to permanently alter their bodies. Think about it. Minors can't smoke, drink, gamble, even drive a car, or get tattoos, and this is because their brains are not fully developed yet. Crazy thought. They aren't equipped to make life-altering decisions, so why on earth would we allow them to make life-altering decisions and decisions about sex change surgeries or hormone treatments, even with parental consent? Their underdeveloped brains simply cannot grasp the full magnitude and permanence of such choices. And let's be real, it's also disturbing to see what types of people are often pushing for this. As you can tell, there was a stark contrast between the people saying yes and people saying no in the video. It's actives and ideologies that seem to be far more interested in promoting an agenda than actually protecting kids. In the second clip about raising the minimum wage, it's clear that most people only consider the surface level argument, like I said. They don't think about the real-world implications. Sure, raising the minimum wage sounds compassionate and nice, but if it's not done responsibly, it can actually harm the very workers it's supposed to help. Why? Because when labor costs increase, businesses look for ways to cut expenses. Economics 101. That means more automation, more self-checkout kiosks, fewer entry-level jobs, and ultimately fewer opportunities for the very people they claim to be helping. These interviews highlight some really good points about our society.
Should we ban books in public schools?
Absolutely, 100% no.
No.
I'm not for book bans at all.
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't know. I watched Handmaid's Tale, and I feel like that's how that starts.
So I have some of the banned books here. I was wondering if you could read some of them for me.
What the
Yeah.
Okay.
Handies. Perhaps the most important skill you will master as a gay or bi man is...
This is like a literal sex scene. Like, this is actual, like, booty sex.
Circle your butthole. Okay, no, kids maybe should not be reading this.
I'm not going to read this, but, like, again, I'm not going to prohibit someone from choosing if this is something that they would want their child to be exposed to.
If an adult feels uncomfortable reading this out loud, why do they think it's appropriate to show to kids in elementary and middle schools? Do you understand why parents might not want these in their kids' schools?
Totally.
Yeah, I don't want my kids seeing that.
I'm really against any books that have any type of an agenda to, educate children about issues that they shouldn't even be thinking about or talking about.
Should parents have a right to dictate what material their children consume in public schools?
Yes. Yeah.
Why?
Because that's your child.
Why is it socially acceptable to be transgender but not transracial?
This is a very good question. I think, I don't know.
This is Ted Danson at the Friars Club Roast in New York City. This is Sarah Silverman in blackface on her TV show. What do you think of when you see these images?
It's not good.
Maybe it's like, if I want to be a dragon, I can just be a dragon or something.
I feel like people, they have the freedom to do what they want.
Is that an endorsement of transracialism?
Kind of got me, huh?
Do you think that people who claim transracial are making a mockery of real black people?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about woman face. Do you guys know Dylan Mulvaney?
No.
So he transitioned, and after he transitioned to a woman, he has millions of dollars in brand deals. You have Leah Thomas, who has William Thomas, ranked very low on the swimmer scoreboards. After transitioning, was #1 in the country.
It's supposed to be that you reap benefits for something you're not.
If you can identify with a different gender, why can't you identify with a different race?
The biological side of it, because race has no biological connections whatsoever. It's purely based off of physical appearances.
I just asked you if it was biological. You said yes.
Is recognized off of skin color. If you weren't that skin color your whole
Right,
life.
because it's biological.
Or I mean, sex has biological backings, but gender is not. Gender is a spectrum.
Why is there a double standard for race and gender?
That I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I know that it is.
Can people identify with a different gender?
They can identify as whatever they want.
They can identify as a carrot or a different gender or a different race.
Or a lizard.
Love it. So can I be a black broccoli?
Sure.
Black broccoli and
Black
orange
broccoli
carrot.
and carrot. Woohoo!
If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Be sure to follow me and PragerU on all social medias. And if you haven't done so already, go to the App Store and download the PragerU app so you don't miss out on any more videos like this. I'll see you in the next one. How do you feel about starting a family of your own? Do you want little squirrel babies one day? I'll take that as a no.
Here's the final conclusion from me and the outro. When it comes to book bans, in terms of the clip that we just watched, the reality is that some books are perfectly fine to ban, while others absolutely should remain on the shelves. It's not a black and white issue. The notion that every book should be freely available, no matter how explicit or inappropriate, is totally absurd. Many of the people who argue against book bans can't even pronounce the book titles because of how offensive and jarring they are sometimes. But they still insist that parents should have the choice to allow their children to read these types of books. At some point, society does need to step in on certain issues. Like, come on, man. There's a clear line between protecting free speech and protecting children from age-inappropriate material. Then there's the transracial clips, which perfectly illustrate how ridiculous identity politics have become. The idea that transgenderism is equivalent to translationalism is simply not true. It's just a total double standard, and I don't even think either one of them should exist. People are too quick to accept the idea of changing gender, but at the moment that somebody claims to identify as a different race, they're immediately mocked and ridiculed and saying something like, oh, that doesn't exist. Why? Because they know race is biologically grounded, just like gender, even though it's been made into a subjective kind of concept. The whole situation highlights the absurdity of self-identification run amok. When people can just identify as anything, words do not retain their meaning or power. Man, woman, black, white, it all becomes fluid and meaningless. And the real danger of it all is when language loses its foundation, truth becomes irrelevant. And that's what we've seen throughout society in the last 4 to 5 years, maybe even the last 10 years. But that's all I have to say. Thank you for listening to my 2 cents. Would appreciate some constructive feedback in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.